The date is March 6th, really late on March 6th, 2013, and this is your daily dose of D&D. Welcome everybody, my name is Mad Matt Wankow, and I'd like to thank you guys for joining me today. Today we're going to be going over a little bit of my campaign, just one encounter's worth, or one chunk. It's not necessarily one encounter, it's a bunch of encounters all kind of jumbled together. But in my head I have, I think 13 divisions of what this quest is going to be. We're through with maybe 4 of them. They're starting to get a little bit bigger individually, but there'll be some that'll be really quick coming up soon. This first one, after the introduction, which I should probably do. No, I covered it a little bit before. I'm going to stick with this one today. The party was assigned to go to this town called Neamean and deal with the Neamean Llions. Neamean took place, I integrated a little bit in our little custom world. There's this large savanna grassland, which contains raptor grass. I don't know if I've talked about raptor grass before, but the concept of raptor grass is pretty cool. Large savanna with trade caravans going through, providing most of the, trade. Most of the money comes from the caravans, and they've been recently being raided upon by people called the Neamean Llions, who were supposedly, so fast that weapons couldn't hurt them, and magic didn't work on them either, and the party was supposed to go and deal with it. And that's all I gave them. And I plopped them down in a town, and then they were supposed to go. And one of the things that I wanted to do is they were the same race as our shifter, who I wanted to draw out a little bit more. And so I was able to use things like the town was prejudiced against her because she was a shifter. And people had to talk fast to be able to keep her from being mobbed. And then I also used what she would want in a campground for, her village to base a little bit of what the Marauders' village was like. I put the group in the town and left them to their own devices, and it confused them, honestly, because we're a fairly, driven group. They're not used to being able, to being open. A lot of people are new, but even the old, people who are old hat at it, we do a lot of railroading in our group, and, it's not cool, but we're just so trained to railroad that we just do it. So I'm trying to break us out of that and, make us more outside of the box thingies, because I've had a lot more fun when we're doing things outside of the box than when we're doing them in, exactly what the DM wants. And so, they wandered around and then realized that, hey, the guys probably have a village. We could probably find it with our airship that we travel in. And so they got into their airship and drove around and tried to find it, and they rolled perception checks, and all of them rolled horribly. Like, just ridiculously horrible. And so on the fly I made it so that, came up with an explanation of why they couldn't see it, and prodded somebody and said, hey, look through magic. And he's like, I look through magic. I'm like, you see this, shivering stuff, and it's totally an illusion spell that's centered around something, and when you go inside of it, hey, you see a village. And so I caused this illusion magic to happen just because. And it actually became a lot of fun because there was this town and people dropped into it different ways, because there's no good way of getting off of this airship other than just jumping off the railing. And so people jumped off the railing and were suddenly on the ground, and I had, I was able to put one of the newer people into this grass hut of the leader, where he was able to get a cool sword that I wanted to give him a cool sword. It's a sword that can cut through anything non-living that he really can't use in combat unless it's going to be awesome, is my stipulation of it. And so, yeah, I wanted to have that sword just to see what he's going to do with it. I personally can think of thousands of uses for such a sword. If I had something like that, I would probably be using it constantly, and all my belongings would be in little tiny pieces. There's a lot of good scenes in The Subtle Knife that he ought to check out, of a sword that could do that, or a knife that can do that, and things that he could do with it. But yeah, I gave him to that, and then our thief shifter snuck into the leader's tent and noticed, hey, there's this kind of shaman-y thing, and she picked it up and put it in her pocket and didn't look at it or anything, and the illusion of a savannah followed them. And so when they found out that, hey, the leader is in another castle, they got onto the airship and flew away, except to everyone around them, instead of an airship, there's a large piece of savannah that is flying around with them. And that was pretty funny. And they, saw the leader and jumped out, and hey, it's not a razor claw shifter, it's a long-tooth shifter, which is like a wolf instead of a cat. And the Minotaur challenged him to one-on-one combat, and I couldn't come up with a way to say no. And no one really liked him, so they didn't help. And really, it was going to be a combat encounter, but I realized that I had no chance, because I can't hit Tanith. And, yeah, I have to have someone severely overpowered to be able to actually hit him and be able to survive against him. There's no way I could win, so I had him, die really quickly. Yeah. They returned, told the marauders to stop it, and left, and the artificer looked at the little amulet thingy and monkeyed with it, and it's no longer a savannah, but the ship has disguises. Paul says that it can go cloaked when it's not moving, but while it's moving it can't keep up a useful disguise, and so we ended up flying away into the sunset for the next mission with a large rubber ducky just flying through the air, or something like that. It does a lot of really cool stuff. And it's just another thing that I wanted to do, to provide cool toys for the party to play with. And the more toys you give the party, more fun I think they have. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it today, guys. So, thank you for watching this episode of Daily D&D. If you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them down below in that section of the website designed for it. If you like the video, hit the like button down below. And if you're on the YouTube homepage and you would like to be able to get a daily dose of D&D, hit the subscribe button located below. And I'll come to your YouTube subscription box every day, flying in on a large rubber ducky. My name is Mamet Wankow. This has been Daily D&D. You guys stay online, and I will see you next time.